Alright guys, you nerds wanted some new exhibits and animals, and that is exactly what I've given you here. I've really made some good progress this week. Basically, like we said, instead of getting right into the tigers and all that stuff, after we finished up with the Reptile Center, I'll show you that if you're new. The little Ricey Cove Reptile Center over here with the turtle pond and the giant tortoise and the gharials over here. And also we've got a little inside section. Got the giant yellow anaconda. I've got some pythons. I've got some iguanas. We've got some fake fish right here. You just can't see them. They're really fake in our little cichlid aquarium there. But that is kind of what we've been working on. Now, what I've finished over here in the middle of this week is the North American area. Well, I don't want to say I've finished it. We've just really kind of finished the first area. And I know the first thing you see right here is a couple of grizzly bears. And I figured the story behind them, because it's like Drew was saying, you wouldn't normally have like two female grizzly bears like in the same exhibit together. Well, I thought you wouldn't normally, but actually, on talking to some people on Bro Nation, actually it's a little more common than I thought it was. So these two grizzly bears, this is Jenna and Maggie, and the story with them is they're like a rescue grizzlies. They were rescued as cubs. We don't know where the mother was at. They were just left alone. It will just say, like, I was thinking in like a national park, and it wasn't one of those situations where the mother wasn't coming back. So the park rangers actually got a hold of these two, and we've kept them together ever since. So Jenna and Maggie are definitely quite a duo here, and they are fun to kind of watch, watch play back and forth, and just, I haven't really seen them necessarily get into a tussle per se, but they definitely, they enjoy their own space. It seems a little bit, but nonetheless, we've got the electric fence up and then the extra little guard fence right here just to kind of keep people back. But you could get a really nice view of our two resident grizzly bear. And I know that the fence may be a little low. Some of these trees may be a little close to the edge, but we'll figure these grizzlies are pretty docile. They were introduced to humans at such a young age, being found like they were, so they really do not cause us a lot of issues. And like I said, I've only had them in here since like Monday-ish, and they have been a blast just to watch them. Just watch them walk around and play and forage and take naps. So yeah, that is Jenna and Maggie for you here, our sister grizzly bears. This was actually, from some of you beta Kenai visitors, this was my first ever exhibit, just kind of playing around. Whoa, she's standing up. Look how tall she is. This was my first beta exhibit. It was for just a little grizzly bear that I had in there. I think that was Wiggles. Yeah, that was Wiggles. He was a lone male grizzly bear that I had in here. And so yeah, this little enclosure lives on now. I've repurposed it just like another exhibit you'll see in a minute. Kind of toned it down a little bit. I broke up some of the waterfalls, so Jenna and Maggie have like a smaller waterfall. I basically had to un-S-Dan Wolf it a little bit. But that's okay, because, we were trying to kind of a little bit tone it down a little in this park. Try to make it, a little bit more on the realistic side. But anyways, moving over here to the left side, Jenna and Maggie's neighbors here are the timberwolves. And with this whole exhibit, I went with a park that's pretty close here to me. It's called Bays Mountain Park and Planetarium, and they actually have live gray wolves. And the exhibit is more like this. It's just chain link fence, and it is on a mountainside. It's on a hillside. So it's one of those things where I was telling Pond Shrimp and Zeke and a couple of them on the Bro Nation Discord, Beyond Drew, that this is one of those exhibits where I wanted to keep it so natural that sometimes you could come through here and you may not actually see them. And I think that's a pretty cool part of the whole exhibit. It really kind of lets them get away from the crowds a little bit. And yeah, you know, just like I said, we have a little more like just went with a naturalistic type vibe with this exhibit. And the keeper huts that are assigned exclusively to keep after the timberwolves, I thought this was pretty cool. Their little their building is actually here inside the enclosure, kind of like Plebeys Mountain's little park management area is. So their keepers can observe them from in here. They can bring them in if they have veterinary treatment and don't actually have to take them outside of the exhibit. And if we are running into problems, I have some quick little kind of like outside kennels over here. If we have any aggression problems that we kind of need to mitigate or figure out what, you know, kind of like if we need a cooling off period over here, kind of like at the back of the Gariel area, we do have some spare kennel section over here. So that's kind of what the deal is with that. But for the most part, I have not had many problems out of these guys. They are just like Jenna and Maggie. They are very fun to kind of watch, especially when they get really flying up and down this hillside and jumping into these bushes. That is pretty fun to watch. And like I said, coming in here from the beginning, this is the area that leads into all that. So you've got your adventure club sign up, and then you make a decision whether to go off to the right to Zip Ridge, your zip line course over there, or make your way into some of the North American, the North American area over here. And who could not stop by while you're here and see these two beautiful girls here hanging out? That is just so cool. But anyways, let's go ahead and we'll also jump over here to the newest exhibit, and that is our Formosan black bear exhibit. Now, for this instance, we're going to go ahead and just like we did in the other zoo, we're going to pretend that they are American black bears to kind of just go with the whole black bear area. I mimicked this off of Zoo Knoxville. This is kind of what theirs looks like. It's got the really high rock facade walls. And then, of course, we've got the whole backstage support area for the bears, and we've got some different extraction points and stuff over here, and then back over in that corner. And I figured that this whole area could just be like the bear, like the bear backstage support area. Even as far as Jenna and Maggie go, you could bring them over here. And this is like the whole like bear area. So when you round the corner from leaving them, I've got this really big glass facade right here. You could look in on them. I haven't named those two yet, but also just like Zoo Knoxville, look at this. I've got it like a big giant fallen log right there. And like the people and stuff, you can walk back in here at the end of the log and kind of look out at the bears as well. And then if you round the corner over here, we have one more really, really large glass here, so you can kind of spy in there on them. This is another exhibit that actually had to be, kind of un-S-danned wolf a little bit, because this was actually Black Bear Falls, and all of this was a giant waterfall, huge waterfall. And it's not really like that in Zoo Knoxville. They have a waterfall, but it's just like one little tiny shoot off that I might end up doing, but for now we'll just leave it up and we'll just leave it open as the regular facade. But yeah, these guys, they are fun to get in here and watch as well. And I really like how you can raise the glass up high enough to where it just looks like it's all encased in that piece of rock. So that is like that is our black bear exhibit, and one of them is taking a swim here. But you guys are right. I mean, it is fun to really get in here and actually watch the animals and see them play and use the habitats. The implied exhibits, they're one thing, but it's just not a substitute for actually getting in here and just watching them. Like, just look how cool this is, just to sit here and watch her set in her little mannerisms, ear flicks. just kind of, hanging out, taking a nap in the rock. But, another thing you guys gave pretty good feedback on last time, too, is a need to have a walkway, a pretty accessible walkway to take the people back up into the, back up to the tower if they want to get back up in there and zip line back down here. So that's what I did. Over here, once you make your way out of the little, out of the receiving station there, you can just run right back up this path and get back in line. Come right back up to the tower. And I also, too, figured, like, if we eventually make, like, if this is an exhibit of something out here, that would give people that are wanting to walk back up to the zip line, if you wanted to stop and look over the edge at the animals down in here, you could do that as well. Or I may even just end up closing that in with really, with some really dense woods right here. And I think that would be pretty cool to have like an elevated wood path with trees over both sides, kind of as you make your way back. The only thing I didn't really mess with much since you guys saw episode 8 on Sunday, I haven't messed with the creek too much after that. So that's kind of something else we probably focus on this weekend. But now that we're really making some headway with the North American area, which I don't know, I think it's quickly becoming one of my favorite areas, just with the backstory with the bears and how the black bear exhibit came out, kind of like we said, Black Bear Ridge over here. Got all kinds of stuff for them to climb on and different little logs and stuff. That is just this whole little area I am just really, really digging right now. And if you're new, this is the whole kind of like the entrance area that welcomes you in to Pine Creek. And we've got like a working little backstage area, bus parking, regular parking here, kind of like a slow day at the zoo right now. And then, of course, we've got Pine Creek that winds its way through the whole zoo. We've got our first exhibit that you kind of come up on, which is our American beaver exhibit. So this is like their little dam, like their little den here. And then if you make your way a little further down the path, you get to the Red Panda Village over here. That was your guys' first kind of like little favorite exhibit. You guys were really, really excited when that first came out, and I'm really glad that the Boyd family Red Panda Village got that type of reception. That was a really, really fun little deal to build there. Then right here, you've got kind of like your interactive creek experience. This is they let you go down in here a couple times out of the day, and they do little classes and stuff and let the kids splash around in the creek. Then if you make your way up this little path, we'll have to do a Tedgy-Cam like walkthrough. Maybe have to have Mass Bandit come in, and he's like the master at those little walkthroughs, and let him come in and kind of just see the zoo and talk about it and really just dive in here with me. Really have somebody from the outside come in, because this isn't on the workshop or anything, and just get some other people's feedback. But when you round this section of corner over here, you get to the Clayton Family Playground and Fender's Farm. So this is our little farm area. We've got the hogs here, and we've got our little barn that you can peek into the stalls on. And then over here we've got some Dow sheep that you can. It's like a little petting zoo type area. We've got my buddy Patrick's little feeding stand here. And we've got Suicide's, her little playground over here I brought in, and Sandbox. And then, of course, some Semantics fire tower here that we have made a makeshift little zip line here. And then, of course, Drew has brought in a really cool backstage type of building for me, as well as the security gate here that goes into the backstage area. So Beyond Drew hooked all that up for me. And Mr. Domez, his stuff is scattered all around, his little magazine stands here. But like I said, guys, I am having an absolute blast, and the reception on this park has been insane. Who knew that me trying a realistic zoo would garner like this much attention and feedback from you guys over the fantasy type build. So that has been pretty awesome, like just logging in there's been so many comments. Some days I can't even keep up with them. As far as you guys and your feedback and people just joining on. We're rolling up on 12,000 subscribers. Probably by the end of Saturday we'll be over 12,000. Here's our giant tortoise here. And this is another one of my little implied exhibits. This is is like the little turtle pond. So I figured you could see them swimming up in here and basking up on the logs and stuff. And I even heard that one of the reasons too that it's really important for the turtles to get up out of the water and let their shells like completely dry out and get into the sun is their shells can actually cave in if they don't have enough sun and are able to kind of like bask in the sun enough. So it's not just a body temperature type deal, it's a shell integrity type deal as well. A lady was telling me. So that is some really interesting stuff as well for their need to kind of get up on a log or on a rock or on the bank and just kind of get up out of the water a little bit. I thought that was some really interesting info. And here's our little iguana Spike. You guys ever watch I don't know if you're around my age, you probably watched the Land Before Time. I used to love Spike. So here's Spike hanging out, chilling up in his tree. But yeah, guys, so I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. I hope any of you guys that were kind of really yearning for some more exhibits and really, really wanting to get some animals in here. Oh, they got their backs turned. They must not be speaking. I think that we really kind of just hit the nail on the head with this episode and really bulked up our animal count here. And, I just hope you guys still enjoy coming in and hanging out with us and just seeing all the critters and the ideas we come up with next. And just keep the ideas coming, because at this point, I really don't know kind of what I want to try next. I just know that we've still got a few things to go as far as options in the American side goes. So I don't know, just keep your hints and your tips and your comments going. And my buddy Hirsch, he's really helping me. One of the guys, like I said, that still actively works at a zoo, giving me really good feedback after every video on some things that look right and don't look right. And I think this little zip line, like for me, is like not knowing much about zip lines. I think that came out really, really cool. Like this whole little gap right here where you kind of have to shoot the gap between these trees. And this kind of like overgrowth with the pond mixed in. I just think that looks killer right there coming off that tower. And then also too, when you see the tower and the pond in the background, in the foreground here, and the waterfall. Just really, really awesome part, guys. Really, really proud of kind of what, we're 9 episodes in. Just really, really putting in some quality work on this park. That's what's the most fun about it. Like looking back at these episodes, like we are putting in some quality, just quality design, quality entertainment for you guys. This is I just love that this is not low effort stuff here. This is like fun Planet Zoo entertainment. Even if I wasn't building it myself, this would be like my number one. Would look for, like, if somebody was doing one like this kind of like, well, kind of like I was keeping, I keep up with Pond Shrimp and Project Eden, and when Mike jumps in and helps her and stuff. That is just this rustic, these rustic type builds and parks, even from Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo standpoint. This is right up my alley. So just appreciate you guys sticking along with me and having fun on this. And just keep the comments coming and keep the feedback coming. And I guess I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you. See ya.